Hey everyone, how is everyone doing on this Sunday night, April 12th, 2026? I don't want to turn my podcast into a ranting, complaining, you know, uh, description of, you know, what I'm going through financially in terms of, whatever the hell's happening, right? I promise I will not do that in this podcast. Only thing I would say is that, I've been getting all these fucking bills from New York State for not having workers' compensation insurance in 2024, 2025. And I've been trying to fight them because I did have compensation with this company called Byberg, right? Which is a Berkshire Hathaway company. Warren Buffett, I think he owns that. And then, so it has been a battle between, me going between the two. And I don't know what am I supposed to do. So I got to deal with that, and it's a huge bill, honestly. But again, I don't want to turn my podcast into that. So let's just try to be positive as much as we can. And then the other thing, Saturday, right, which is yesterday, I get a text message from somebody claiming to be this super for our condo buildings, right? And he's telling me that there's a leak in the apartment downstairs below us, and he doesn't want us to take the shower. And he's basically accusing us that we did something. Like, what the fuck did we do? Shower is a shower, drain is the drain. We didn't change anything, all right? And then he's like, "Oh, I need to, cut the shower and this and that." Dude, you can't fucking do that. So that was the day for me to start, on a fucking Saturday. But the good thing was, despite all that, me and my wife, we ended up on Staten Island, although it was windy and not as warm as we thought. And then, she has some sinus issues and me having these nervous breakdowns. We were thinking whether we should go or not, and but we ended up going there, and then it turned out nice, actually. She played better than actually even I did. There were two other guys playing with us. One of them was really good, but the other guy, he was struggling too. But my wife had some good shots. Oh my God, she's pretty good. She used to be a sportswoman in her days. So there you go. So and today we were supposed to actually meet with my sister and my brother-in-law, but she's under the weather, and I just didn't want to. Like I just I couldn't hike to Manhattan, or I don't know. I mean, the charm for me, especially the charm of Manhattan, especially coming back from Florida. I mean, what's the charm in Manhattan? I mean, there's no charm. It's a concrete fucking jungle, all right? But the only thing is that, that's where my construction sites are, and, not mine, but my clients' construction sites. And, I'm their engineer or the inspector, so that's where uh, work comes from. But other than that, I just don't even want to cross fucking Hudson River into the other side, you know? And so I was kind of down and depressed, and, this whole fucking weekend. And remember that life chores thing, and, I've been trying to sort that out too. But in any case, this is all part of fucking life. And I also met one of my close friends. And I mean, you know, there are situations. There are worse situations with people. I understand that part. Uh, but again, in this country, it just feels like everything basically is there to get you. Not everything, but like you know, uh, from if you don't pay your bill, credit card bill, and you're late 30 days or 15, 20, whatever, then they report you to the fucking credit bureaus, right? Which I understand. I mean, that's why you got to make the minimum payments. But, and then all the other things, well, where, if you're, especially if you're running company, then, you're supposed to basically, have, if you have workers, right? You have to have worker comp, which I do, uh, in New Jersey, and everything else, dude, is like nobody in this individualistic world, and I'm not saying that everybody is there to really like get you, but companies and this and that, and it's unbelievable, That's why people who actually uh, don't have to deal with these things. If you are living in a country, right, where, and I'm not saying that you don't have to deal with bills and these like unforeseen things or unprecedented fucking charges and this and that, right? Uh, because they give you stress, and that's why a lot of people in these countries, especially in this country, are stressed. There's a lot of stress, and yeah, what the fuck am I trying to say here? I'm sorry. I think what I'm trying to say is that all these things just create this like fucking cocoon around us, right? Where at some point in time, we got to have these fucking nervous breakdowns, right? And then say, fuck this, I'm not doing any of this shit, and I'm not, what am I supposed to do, I thought I was doing the right thing, and, I didn't fucking rob a bank or, I didn't steal anything from anybody, right? But just these fines they actually impose on you in thousands and $1,000, it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. All right. So, uh, so yeah, that's it. That's where I'm gonna end the list of my complaints and like in general, what if you are going to, what you're gonna run into if you're gonna have a business, and then we haven't even filed our taxes, mm, personal business and all that, and that's other this whole fucking like topic and can of worms I don't want to open. All right. That's why I have that accountant and my wife, obviously, she's putting together documents for him. In any case, all right, so let's just move on, all right? Because we have, for the first time, well, let's talk about, all right, so for the first time, we had the humans travel beyond the atmosphere of our planet. You know, Basically, they were closer to moon and out to other planets in our system farther than ever. The Artemis program. which me and my wife actually, when we were down in Florida, uh, not in Florida, but when we were in Houston, Texas, they have the space center. Although the Artemis was from Florida, so that's Cape Canaveral, right? I've seen it. It was a huge building where it's a huge, like a 30-story sort of like height of a building where they actually, they were building that rocket, right? Because whatever, I think SpaceX also helped them build that. And they're gonna basically now, I don't know when, but they're gonna land the crew on the moon after like what, 50 years. And if he had, and I said this many times, if he had in a parallel universe in this reality with the internet and all these like computer technologies and like fucking social media, if he had invested even from before to have this mission, something like this occur, let's say 20 years ago, we would have had a base by now on the moon, right? But then how does that actually like positively impact us? I'm just saying, all right? That's gazillion dollars of taxpayers' money. I get it, but then human brain is a curious brain, so we're gonna always we're gonna go always after that endeavor um, of space exploration, and it's happening. So that's a positive thing, right? Besides the fucking war that's still going on, right? Which is the negative part of us Americans and everywhere else, whatever is happening. I don't know. I don't want to fucking talk about that. But that also just makes me sad that, you know, after Middle East war and this and that, for 20 years, over 20 years, I'll be back to some other fucking war. And I hope not. And we need, and there should be, obviously, without stating the obvious, we need peace and tranquility, prosperity, happiness, and health in every one of our lives. What can we do to achieve that? I think. Uh, but I have sort of like in that sense grown a thick skin. I mean, I watch the news. Not I watch, but when I'm in bed, I'm just look at the fucking phone, which is also not a good habit. But I listen to radio, when I'm at work, news and all that, and we don't want another fucking world war, dude. 'Cause that would be devastating. It's just that our technologies and capabilities and whatever, uh, war machines and everything we have, we are so vulnerable because humans are emotional. And as much as we are logical, but we also have that fucking emotional side to us. And so there's a chance that would happen. That that's not something that I have any fucking expertise on. So I'm not going to talk about that either, right? But what the hell I was talking about before I jumped into this fucking topic? All right. So if we had that parallel, thing going with space exploration, along with the advancement in computers and and all that, right? Internet, we could have been further into this. All right. Same thing with like flying cars, because that's like my dream that hopefully it happens in my lifetime. And there are companies who are actually working on this, you know. But again, government bureaucracy, especially in this country, is just off the fucking charts. And and it is just an amazing like uh, era time to be on this planet. You know that that humans are at the forefront of you know computers and as advanced as like the AI and the whole thing with technology around it. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with it. I'm not again, who knows. So then what's next? What is next? I can't even fucking say why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just losing my fucking mind. So what is next for humans? More terabytes or whatever, right? For computers and high speed internet times 100. Um, but I actually I listened to Terence McKenna again, and he was like the guru of the psychedelics, and some of the things that he talked about in his lectures are so fascinating. And he even talked about like this AI thing that's now the topic of every fucking discussion. Back in the 80s and 90s. Um, but he was into these alternate states of mind, obviously, right? And everything and every uh, not the metaphysical, but the realm of the other worlds or other parallel realms, parallel universes. Uh, those I think can be accessed through sort of like psychedelics, and if you understand that phenomena, right? And I'm not promoting or discrediting, psychedelics, because psychedelics are now, I think, being used for therapy and all that, right? And so we have, forget that psychedelics. We have what we call in this universe with gazillion stars and planetary systems, and obviously we can't get there anywhere. Uh, we also have this what do you call you know the dark energy, and then the dark matter, because that's what the astrophysicists are telling us, right? By the way, so our calculations show that we have some matter and energy, I think matter, which is undetectable by light. Means we cannot see, but it's there. And that is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, that's actually more than 90% of the whatever, however they do the calculation, right, of the universe. So the physical, you know, visible planets and, suns and whatever objects, fucking Kuiper belts and, whatever asteroids and comets, that's actually less than 10%, if I'm not mistaken. So what's in there? Maybe that's where all these things are happening. I mean, all these parallel universe. I have no idea. I mean, this is like because we are living inside the dark matter, or this surrounds us. It's not like dark matter is it's like 200 miles above planet Earth, right? So it's right here, which you can't see because the light cannot detect it. All right, but uh, so what's happening inside there, huh? And if you have some sort of a lens or some sort of a tool to get in there, would there be some sort of a psychedelic tool that basically connects your brain to that, right? Within within our mind, or maybe I'm exaggerating the whole thing. Connecting through that whatever intellect he Terence McKenna talks about sometimes. There's an antenna, invisible antenna above our brain, all right, which is the antenna from mind, which is connected to the whatever universe, or and that's the telepathy, or sort of like the bridge for our mind to basically see that you know that universe, or those dimensions, are parallel realms, by traveling through that bridge. All right. Uh, Again, that this is just my theory. Built upon his theory. All right. That maybe that's where all the the background, you know things are happening to run this universe, which is the physical universe. Just like the machinery behind the physical universe, right? Is that what it is? I have no fucking idea. Because if that's the case, even the space and obviously, the space between planets and galaxies, and and stars, that is actually what's surrounded 90% by that dark matter, right? So that the physical, what do you call, objects, matter, physical matter, which is the matter we can see and, you know, we can feel, we can walk on, right? That is manifested from that invisible, you know, within within planet, I mean within the space, sort of like the dark matter. Am I saying that correct, or am I just losing my fucking mind uh, in what I'm trying to say? But it is fascinating that nobody knows uh, what actually is in there, except it just shows up in calculations, right? Oh, besides the fact that because of that, the gravity the gravity is strong, to keep the planets around stars, and then the whole star systems around bigger star systems or a bigger object or galaxies together, right? Otherwise, everything would be falling apart within like fucking, I don't know, years, right? So it's like the fabric that keeps the, the physical universe, in its place, except that it's expanding, but universe is expanding, but without that, it would have expanded much, much faster, and then it the universe wouldn't be able to actually hold any planet around any star or on a bigger scale, these galaxies. So that means that nobody would know, or there wouldn't be any fucking life, or us, or animals, or plants, or anything, right? For that matter, that makes life. So I'm not going to go into the discussion of, okay, so even if we have a fucking, dark matter and all that, where's all that come from? But then there's Big Bang, right? I'm not sure. I don't want to fucking go in there into that topic because I'm not an expert, right? I'm not an astrophysicist, but that's a fascinating, you know, realm to get into. If you have some sort of a ship that actually takes you into non-physical dimensions, that's probably where you're going to end up in the dark universe, man. Oh my God. All right, everyone. So I hope I didn't complain too much. Life is sometimes hard, you know, sometimes hard, but you have to make it sort of joyful. We have to live it, you know, without being too much miserable. And with that topic, I'm going to close my podcast. I assume you all are having a great weekend. It's still going on, and I'll talk to you all next week.